Hello, welcome back to the Don Pod for yet another review of a loss. Good morning, Nathan. How are you this morning?
Yeah, bit flat. How are you, Sam?
I don't know how I feel, so we'll find out over the course of the next half an hour. I find.
Concerning.
29-point loss to the reigning premiers, but that probably doesn't even begin to tell the story. First time since 1967, and only the second time in our history that we've started a season 0-3. What'd you make of it? Give me the brief little rundown.
We started horribly. We looked confused. I was fascinated that we tagged this week. We wouldn't go near it as a thought last week, but we went into the game doing it this week, which was fascinating. We got running in the second and the third quarters. I thought things looked better. There still were some issues. We cannot move the ball from our back half to our forward half at all. We don't have marking options up on the wing. We just kick it to a pack, and our players seem scared to kick it to players who are got a bit of space. Because I think, and I'll talk about this later. I think our back six, especially the back two or three that are doing a lot of the kicking, can't kick, and it's why someone like Francis is probably better now. I realise as a defender, there's another defending bow that he brings it,
and he's got these guys.
A couple of those other guys. Yeah, he can field kick. His field kicking is better than the guys down there. But shining light was Big Peter, our boy.
Yes.
Rusty played another great game. I'm very excited about sort of what he can do.
Didn't get on the score sheet, disappointingly, but had 20.
Yeah, had 20. It's a way he doesn't look rushed. He looks composed. He seems to
He had 20.
he just makes good decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, look, we talked about him pre-season that he just looks like an AFL footballer, and that's still all I can really say. His awareness is good. Look, I think I can't work it out. I was sitting here last night when I was watching it. I thought that was shit. We were shit. I can't believe we were in with the shot to win it. But I thought, and we'll cover this in a bit more detail, I think, later, but we did change some stuff second half, and it seemed to be a bit better. But for now, let's have a look at the game, and let's have a look at the players who played well, who didn't, etc., etc. So, for the Dons, very low disposal game. So Shield led the way with 25, who I actually thought was really good. Parrish 24, Heppel 22, Ridley 21. So very low possession game. Gets with merit. Yep. Goals, Peter Wright, you beauty, 4 goals, 1. Stringer with 2 straight, both of them coming in the third quarter. Wanganeen, yay, got on the score, got on his first goal, and his dad went off. That was quite adorable.
Oh, that's hilarious, actually.
McGrath, Cutler, and Perkins all with 1 each. For the Demons, Oliver 38, so big game for him. Brayshaw 34, Langdon 31. Sam Wiedemann, which this always hurts you, I guess, when I'm sitting here before the game last night going, oh, Ben Brown's out. That's good, because that's just a tall marking forward out for them. That helps us. And then Sam Wiedemann comes in. 7 shots at goal, kicks 4 of them. Fritsch and Harms with a couple. Petrarca with 1. McDonald, Langdon, Viney, Spargo, and Sparrow also with 1. I guess we'll start with the good, shall we?
Why not?
Let's pump ourselves up actually here. Let's take the opportunity to pat each other on the back just a little bit and say we maybe we got one right, me and you. And no, it wasn't an original thought of ours, but we have been harping on for quite a while to play 2 rucks. And I thought Phillips was bloody awesome for 1.
Right.
And the effect that it had on Peter Wright
100%.
was huge.
And I thought probably to quickly roll into a negative, I thought that Draper probably looked worse because of Phillips, because Phillips all of a sudden was hitting it to our midfielders.
Yeah. Yeah, Draper didn't have a
And-
fantastic game, but we'll get to the negatives. Please keep it positive for the time being.
Sorry. No, you're right. Sorry. Apologies.
But Phillips
I'm
himself
I'm trying very hard, Sam.
Phillips was actually, I thought, faded a bit in the second quarter, but other than that,
His marking around Graham was awesome.
He took marks. He battled with Gawn in the ruck. He made Gawn earn
tapped
it
it to our midfielders.
like dropped the knee into marking contests a couple of times, and really physical against Gawn, which I think is important. I'm sure as hell that Gawn isn't physically possible of giving away a free kick. He got a really super soft one early and then proceeded to do the same thing like 50 times and it wasn't called, which is frustrating. I do love Maxi Gawn though, so I'll skip over that. I think two ruck worked, and I'll be really, really, really interested to see if that carries into the Adelaide game, or whether it was
interesting too that I saw that both game time for both Ruckman, Draper, and Phillips was only like in the high 60%. So I found that interesting because that meant that they were obviously more rotating off benches and swapping with each other, and no one was sort of. I assumed that one of them might go down forward and rest forward, but they.
I only remember seeing Draper forward once, and I don't remember seeing Phillips forward. But interestingly,
with 67% game time, that tells you they weren't on the ground a lot.
Hit outs, 19 Draper, 16 Phillips. That's it. So Peter Wright didn't ruck once,
which you could see.
So
his 4 goals. I reckon it just helped him. He just had to play as a forward.
Yeah, it was excellent, and his set shot. I know he missed one probably at the most critical time, which sucks. But we can't get upset about that because he's so reliable all the time, and you just got to. He's going to miss.
He's our best set shot by so far.
So far, the one before he missed, he kicked the goal, went back, he got the second shot, which he missed. That first one curled back. It's like he's got it on a string.
And a lot of them go through the middle,
and just go. And the rest of them.
But a lot of his shots go through the dead middle. Like when you get the right at camera, that's just split in the middle. The umpire doesn't even move.
And when you're kicking 0-5 in the first quarter, and seemingly no one else can kick a set shot.
One was a rushed, so we'll give him that.
And Luke Bloody Hodge telling us that we kicked 8 goals straight since kicking 0-5, and we proceeded to kick the next 4 or 5 points. Thanks, Hodgie. So that's
anyway.
That was a big positive for me. For you,
here's a positive. Then our kicking was better this week than last week. Our set shots was better.
Yes, it did.
We were in the game for longer. Like we played probably 2 and a bit quarters. I would have thought of good footy. First quarter was dismal. The last half, the first quarter was poor.
Yes.
The last half of the last quarter was probably poor, but the rest of the game we played. So we played better footy for longer, which was better than the week before, and then much better than the first week against Geelong, where I don't think we could say we played any good football whatsoever.
So you sounded phenomenally like Truck then. Play better footy for longer. That's a pretty simple
That's their motto. I understand that they're talking about the fact that we've played 3 of the top, 4 teams from last year, and so it was always going to be hard.
Yeah. I'm not interested. Sorry.
No. Well, I was just going to say they're giving us that spiel and they're saying, it's been tough. Now we play Adelaide next week. Who do we play? It would be interesting actually to check to see who we play.
The run is Adelaide, Fremantle, Collingwood, I believe.
Well, so on that, and Freo will be here?
Yes.
That'd be right?
I was in Melbourne.
And I know Adelaide's here. So in theory, then we should win those 3.
Yep.
Shouldn't we?
Well, I know you don't rate Collingwood,
Why not?
But they are 2 and zip, so I'll reserve
comment. I don't rate Collingwood, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Adelaide have just come off of rip and nearly swore then. Flipping a phenomenal win last night for them against Port, who are 0-3.
Yeah, that's right. So
wow.
I don't know how to rate that yet because Adelaide looked horrible the week before against Hawthorn, was it, or something? Hey? So
Collingwood. Anyway, this is digressing into premium territory.
Sorry. Yep, you're right.
I was going to say something.
Trying to do the positives.
I don't care about who we play. Right. I want to see us get better and I want to see us win a flag. Eventually, I might be 83, but it'll come. I'm more interested in how we play, right? If we'd rocked up and played the best, most amazing football and lost to Melbourne, I'll be sitting here praising them because you can't be so arrogant to think you're going to just roll up and beat Melbourne, who were reigning premiers. And, I mean, we made them look pretty ordinary at times last night. I don't think that was their best game by any stretch.
No,
but
I think we dragged them down.
They found a way to win. So,
Well, they played. They knew they've got enough in them to play
Yeah.
good when they want. They just sort of rolled over us.
not going to pretend like they're not an amazing side, but it was the fact that we played pretty poorly, and that's what leaves a sour taste for me. But anyway, we're doing positives. Sorry, we're doing positives.
It's just a challenge.
It's hard. I thought Shield was excellent in the last quarter in particular. He really, really, really battled and willed us to be in that game.
100%. 100%. He was great in the last quarter. He really was.
I don't
He
really
got us
think
fired
he
up.
was great before that,
No,
I have to say.
100%.
But
I didn't want to be negative.
When the game was there to be won, which it was, he stood up and got the ball, kicked it well, hit targets inside 50. I think he hit Peter Wright twice in a row, at least one of those two. And it makes me happy because although I give him shit, I want Shield to be a good player.
We paid a lot for him.
We're paying a lot for him. So that was good. Any other positives, like outright positives for you before I...
I thought Ridley played at one of his better games. He marked, which is, I think, something we've been missing about getting the ball back on the half-back line or, in the inside 50, getting the ball back there and then trying to rebound and score from that. We have not done that well, I don't think, so far this year.
Yep.
And that was good.
I want to... Sorry, is there more coming then?
No, there's not many other. No, you go.
My next two are kind of positives that have negative aspects. So guys that are kind of in the middle. I can see good and I can see bad from their games, right?
Yep.
Stringer kicked 2 goals, both of them coming in the third quarter, right? What I loved about that was that both times he kicked a goal, went straight into the middle on Petrarca.
Yep.
Both times in that third quarter. Track had 4 touches in the third quarter. So I love that. I loved whatever that plan was to just put Stringer on him after kicking a goal. Awesome.
Well, I think that was also helped by the fact McGrath was running a pretty decent tag on.
Well, McGrath's my next point.
Okay, sorry.
Get ahead of me. But Stringer for the rest of the game, was pretty unsighted.
He was pretty poor in the end. I thought the goals were important, but his defensive work and he wasn't anywhere near a lot of contests. So
but third
still
quarter,
regaining fitness.
Where he's kicked the 2 goals and come back and then played on Petrarca and won the ball twice, I think, in that as well. I liked. So aspects I like, aspects I don't like. The second one was McGrath. Kept, if I can just do some quick little stat checks here, kept Petrarca to 9 touches to halftime and no impact on the scoreboard. Oh, no, sorry, he kicked it behind in the first quarter. And then after halftime, Pidge seemed to go on to Oliver, which he really didn't have much of an effect there. But that's okay. You're not always going to do that. To half-time, McGrath had kept Petrarca to 9 touches, had 7 himself and a goal.
Yeah, as I said,
brilliant.
The interesting thing about that, though, is that we wouldn't do it last week when Neil did what he did to us. And you could argue that, I would have... If you've got that weapon in your arsenal, why not have sent McGrath there in the third quarter or even into the fourth quarter onto Neil and said, okay, get a tag on him, just try and limit his possessions, not asking for the world, just try and slow it down.
Yeah.
We come into this game fully aware that Petrarca and Oliver are good players and we go, all right, well, we're going to put a hard tag on, well, not a hard tag, but it's a tag on Petrarca.
You're running with him, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it just...
I don't know if the media got to them. Like the coaches went on.
Truck's just gone, look, maybe we give it a go. Maybe there's the recognition that Petrarca and Oliver are better than Neil and whoever else was in Brisbane's midfield.
Because all of a sudden we didn't trust our system, which is what we're told we're doing. We're trusting our system.
A little bit played better football.
It helped.
The negative side of Pidge was more in the second half. When the game was there to be won, he made some pretty awful decisions. Rushes the kicks, which has been the knock on him for quite a little bit.
Forever. He just panics. He gets the ball in traffic and shits himself. Seriously, he just panics and kicks the ball.
Yep.
But again, I'll go back to Rusty Martin. He's played 2 games, and I could show you footage from that game where he was in traffic and he's just slowed down, took his time, made good decisions, got the ball out.
Yeah, there's a real skill in that, in letting players go past you.
Yeah.
And knowing when you can
some
do
guys
that.
have got it, some don't.
Yeah. Pidge really struggled, but or struggles with that aspect. But his game on Petrarca in the first half in particular was excellent, and he got himself a goal, which is also good to see.
Which is great because we need midfielders that can kick goals, especially if they're playing a bit of a tagging role, and we need them to get forward, and that's how you hurt the guy you're on too.
Well, yeah, if you're keeping him to low possessions and you're him impacting yourself, reminds me of the days when Andrew Welsh would play on Chris Judd that one time. Remember that? Welsh had like 30 touches.
Yep. We thought we'd found a tagger, and then I don't think he ever did it very well again.
No, Judd was his bunny, I think.
Oh, all right.
It's pretty much Judd, and that was it. So that's the two in between. Now, probably the bit Nathan's been waiting for. The negatives.
Oh, the negatives, yeah. I've got a whole sheet.
We need a segment, just a minute segment of Nathan ranting.
Oh, no, it's not going to be a rant. I don't want it to be a rant. I just want to throw some stats out there that just some issues that we all see backed up by some data. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Tasty. Go.
Data.
Go.
Oh, right. Sorry. Well, for me, so the back six, there's some issues down there. And obviously the back six issues are related to the midfield not helping out. But I think that's a different beast that's hard to deal with. So I'm just going to look at the back six as they are. So Heppel last night, who, to be honest, he had, 22 touches at 68%. So he had 7 turnovers. Now, butchering the ball. I think one kick along the wing where we were open and he just turned it over. Redmond had 13. He was at 62%, and he had 4 turnovers.
I
didn't find Stewart. So
pretty bloody critical turnovers from Redmond.
And again, critical time. We'd kick those 3 goals. We'd got in front. Redmond had that kick out, and he just tried to be a little bit, hey, I'm going to do a little no-looker and kick it. Oh, hang on, I forgot to actually...
Can I make a comment on that, or do you want to just finish your rant?
No, you go. That's fine.
Heppel was frustrating, not only for the turnovers, but when he got near the ball, he just went backwards, turned around, and looked slow and lost and confused. And I love Hepp, but don't know if that's in the side anymore.
His first 3 games have not worked as a defender.
Nope, not at all. And I don't want to be sitting
Last year, I would have said it worked.
Drop the captain, but I'm struggling to see where he fits in this side. Your second point there on Redmond, I did want to talk a bit more about Redmond, because that kick from that kick in was millionaire stuff, and it was shit. Outright garbage.
It was just an absolute mode. What's the word? Sorry.
Brain fart.
Well, it was a momentum killer because as I said, we kicked through, and they just turned around and kicked it back over his head, and I went, oh, for fuck. And I've dropped my head. Like, I'm a supporter. I'm like, oh, that kills you. One.
What I want to say, and he did it later on, right? Like when we had to kick like 4 goals in 3 minutes, kind of scenario. He took a mark on half-back and played on, rightfully so, and then got tackled because he just couldn't make the decision quick enough. Right, in both those instances, and actually throughout the game, I was happy with the way we took it on. We recognised that we had to move the ball quickly, we had to move the ball by foot, and we had to, as I said, go quick. We couldn't just let them set up. So while the theory around what Redmond did with that kick was right, the execution was shite.
100%. But the problem is we've got guys that, and Kelly's not a great kicker of the ball either. I mean, that was his knock on him, and so he doesn't take that kick on. But at the moment, Heppel and Redmond, and I don't think Stewart really takes it on because he doesn't take a lot of possessions. I won't get into him.
I would like to read out a text you sent me last night, if that's okay. About James Stewart.
I've had a few cans, so who knows what this was.
Stewart seems to get the easiest match up in the back line and still seems to screw that up.
Last night it was. So this is what I found fascinating: that Laverde was on the big monster, like on the Ruckman, he was on him and he was on Gorn a few times. He was on Gorn and he had to deal with that. Yet Stewart, who's I'm guessing 6 or 7 centimeters taller, 5 centimeters taller, was often on some like the third tallest, and I always I'd love to know the data of who he's played on the first 3 games because he seems to Ridley seems to get the next hardest. Laverde gets the hardest. Ridley gets the second hardest, and Stewart gets the third hardest sort of defender. Mm-hmm. And I don't get that. I'd give him the hardest and say, do it because we need Ridley to be free because he's actually the guy that can kick the ball and make good decisions. Anyway, the other thing I'll go to too with our defence. So one other interesting stat from today. I'll just find my bit of data. I'll close the page. So contested possession. So last year, for example, contested defensive losses is the data we're talking about here. So it's one-on-ones between two defenders, or defender and a forward. Now, to put it in perspective, last year, Kelly, one of the reasons we really liked him was he was 16%. So he had 65 contested one-on-ones and he lost 11 of them. So he was at 65%. That's unreal. If you do someone like May or earlier, like they're around that 20%, 21%. That's about what you're aiming for, as a defender. At the moment, Laverde's going at 31%. Kelly's going at 53%. We've broken him. Stewart's going at 41% and Ridley's going at 50%. So they are losing massively their one-on-ones with whoever they're playing on. Now, I don't know. I know there's balls coming down a lot and I know that there's not getting any help, but the matchups are not working with the one-on-ones because we're getting killed in them when the ball comes in.
Yeah. And we talked about Laverde and Stewart last week about if Stewart's not taking the big boy, then why is he even there? Because he's not a great footballer. But last night, I thought Kelly was pretty average, seemed to get really panicked and gave away free kicks. And whether that was a thing Melbourne did deliberately to isolate him, maybe that's something they knew of him, who knows. But he seemed to get isolated in the one-on-ones, panic, and gave away 2 or 3 free kicks. Lav...
And that was, I think that was because of some of the matchups he was against a lot bigger guys.
And that we don't seem to know what we want from him. He seems to swap opponent from tall to short to medium. I will say, whoever played on Keziah Pickett had a good game because Keziah Pickett, I forgot, was even playing.
I think it was Hind most of it. And see, Hind's the guy we should be trying to get the ball in hand, but he even butchered it a few times last.
His kicking's been dreadful.
I didn't look at his. I was too more focused on Heppel and Redmond because that kick of Redmond really stood out to me. And Heppel's had a few kicks that just hurt to watch. One other thing I'll go with too. Now I've done my defence. Yep. I'll move to the ruck.
Okay. Oh yeah, Sammy Draper. Be warned.
Loved Sammy Draper.
We do.
And I know this sounds a bit like I'm not racist, but how I just feel like, well, I love Sammy Draper, but Jesus Christ. So the first 3 games he's taken 3 marks.
Jesus.
Phillips came in last night, and this stood out to me. Phillips took 5 marks last night, and those marks were really important because they got us along the wing sometimes, or we took a mark at about 80 out from goal. Which is what a ruckman's job is really. Sometimes is just to get us out of trouble and take a mark. And Draper, as I said, he took 1 mark last night. He's had 3 marks for the year. He's not doing that at the moment. He's not taking marks.
Well,
and the other thing too.
Sorry.
Yeah, go.
Sorry, I was just going to say one of Draper's things last year was clearances. He was getting the ball himself as well, and last night he had 2 touches.
2 touches. I was going to bring that up. Was the last thing 2 touches. 1 in the first, I think, and 1 in the last.
You're in the guts. You're where the ball is.
You're at 20 centre bounces. The ball's right there. How can you not? It slaps you in the face at least once.
It is a weird thing, though, because I'm still happy for him to keep playing. And if he gets no touches, but Peter Wright keeps getting games like that, structurally, it's working. Yeah.
Well, my issue is that I thought Phillips was the better ruckman in that role. But Draper, I agree that he, around the ground, can probably offer more. He's just not offering at the moment, and it's a concern. That's my sort of... See, that wasn't that bad, was it?
That was all right. You wanted to record it last night, and I think we would have been far more.
I would have swore.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. In the light of day, you sort of reflect and say, "Oh, well, yeah."
But sleep on these things.
I understand Draper's only played 25 games, and Phillips has only played 50 odd. But he's an older player; he's been around a long time. His craft is a lot more progressed, and as you'd expect. But Draper, I don't know if you see it, but Draper does these things sometimes. He just slaps the ball well out of the contest, like it's a boundary throw in, and he just hits it away. Hey?
To no one.
To no one. And I'm like, what the fuck's the point of that? What are you doing hitting the ball so far away? There's no players, and most of the time, Melbourne are probably a bit more set up. And they, oh, look, the ball's free. Watch me just pick it up. And you've got these three guys standing around you who are expecting to get the ball. They got their hands up. They're all ready to take the ball. And you just whack. Look at me. I got the hit out, boys. Oh, meant to hit it to you, am I? Oh, there you go. Whereas Phillips, and you watch Gawn and Jackson, they're down the throat of Oliver, down the throat of Viney,
Interestingly,
that's my gripe.
Phillips is 30. How many games do you reckon he's played?
55.
44. Just haven't cracked 50. He's a good ruckman. He had a bloody good game last night. Like,
I don't have a problem with it. He probably takes on a few more contests. Like, he tries to do a bit with the ball sometimes. Just get a handball. I would be my suggestion. Get a handball. Just get the ball and handball, mate. Don't.
You sound like Brian Taylor. Oh God, I can't stand.
Well, no, I don't like the commentary.
How many times? Oh, I'm on a tangent now. How many times did Brian Taylor call Caldwell Shield?
Oh, he got a few players wrong for us ago. That's not him.
You have one job. Know the players.
He got it wrong a few times. Like, look, I respect some of their views because they're ex-football players. They know stuff. But as commentators, Brian Taylor is not great.
He's shocking. No, can't go into it.
Well, let's move on then.
I just want to say a few other things that weren't necessarily positives or negatives. I quite enjoyed Cutler's game for periods. Had a set shot in a pretty important time, I think, in the third quarter and nailed it.
Yeah.
And just seemed to make the right decisions. And I liked his game. I don't know what else I can say other than that.
I thought the same thing probably about Guelphy. Did a few things that I thought really. And Sammy Durham too was another one that got up and just tried.
If you let me keep talking, I would have said Durham. A couple of times, shit himself just a little bit and got pinged on the ball, dropped a mark in a pretty crucial time in the forward line, but smothered, harassed, and did all the other things you want a player to do. And that was about it, really.
I guess, though, like,
for players.
In saying all that about those guys...
Smith still didn't get a touch.
Yeah. I guess saying that about those sort of guys like Guelphy and those, is that we can't sort of say about other players, their disposal like Redmond and Heppel is poor, and then say someone like Guelphy and Ham, but they really try. We've also got to be critical about their disposal and what they're doing with the footy as well. But because I'm sure Redmond and Heppel are trying.
Durham only made 2 mistakes.
The mark was...
And they weren't... I don't know. They're not as bad.
And Durham kicks the ball. They both kicked the ball well, those guys. Probably the issue with Ham and Guelphy, it's just their size. They're just small and short and skinny. Like they don't...
I really don't see a spot in the side for both of them. Right, and right now I'd have Guelphy over Ham. Ham is awful.
Yep, 100%. Guelphy brings something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
He kicked 2 points last night, so I mean, if that's 2 goals, then he's bringing a fair bit. So
he brings pressure around the ball.
All right. Oh God, half an hour already. This is normally the part where we would talk about the key areas, but I feel like we've kind of touched on them a little bit. I did notice. I said earlier about the change from halftime. We did seem to change some stuff around.
Yep.
And I don't really know if I'm going to be able to articulate this very well, so bear with me.
Yep.
The ball movement. So you touched on the movement from back to forward before. It was dramatically increased in quality in the third and fourth quarters. Well, the third and half the fourth quarter. They... I think found a really good balance between going quickly, for the most part, found a good balance between going quickly, but hitting targets. So a couple of times we went to up middle and then there was nothing, so they went out wide. And I was kind of like, eh. But then they kicked again quickly. And then we'd get the ball back into the middle and then go inside 50, or we'd kick back out to the wing, change the angle, and then kick it inside 50. And it just seemed to work because we weren't standing there, which is probably part of the frustration with Heppel, is that every time he got the ball, he did stand there and wait.
Yeah. They just took. There were moments in that when they were just taking too long to make decisions.
Yeah.
And you could see up the ground in the camera angle there were little guys alone by themselves with enough space to hit that little kick.
Yep.
And sometimes you have to take the little kick, take another little kick, and hope that something generates. Like he might all of a sudden be free, or you've moved a couple of players in defence that you've dragged them towards you, and you've opened up a space behind you. What we do often, and where we stuff it up, I think, is that we'll take one little kick and go, "Oh, there's no other options. Bang it long. Watch the ball come back over our head," and it frustrates me.
And that is also where Phillips was useful, because if we did have that, bang it long, he at least chopped us out a few times there.
Yeah, he took a mark, or he created a contest, which is and this is why I don't like Peter Wright doing it all the time, because he's up the ground doing that. Then we've got to he's got to then get back and take a mark.
Yeah,
and Draper's not taking marks at the moment, so.
Anyway, I think we found a nice little balance between keeping the ball but moving the ball quickly still. And it works.
Yeah, we did get burned a bit more.
We did, but that's okay. Against Melbourne, it had to happen.
You're right. I mean, the only way you're going to beat them is play that way. Like, part of you have to, and to do it, you will learn to defend better.
Yep. And just to back that up with stats, we kicked 3 goals in the first half and 7 in the second half. So
3 goals in the first half, 7, yeah.
Unfortunately for us, Melbourne kicked 10 in the second half, 4 in the first half. But that, as you just said, that's what's going to happen, though. You'll get burnt the other way more.
And you've got to die trying, don't you? Like, it's kind
against
of like...
Melbourne, well, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we talked about, you got to do these things against good sides. So when you come against, I don't want to say Adelaide's a bad side because they just won, but when you come against bottom sides or lower sides or something similar to you, when you're doing it, you should be able to deal with their pressure if you can deal with the top end pressure.
And this is what we've seen for the last 5 years. Richmond, unreal system. They do this exact same thing against anyone because they back what they do.
Don't care.
Melbourne, lesser extent, but. Just know. They know what's going to happen. They know where their players are. And it's... When my team is playing Melbourne, it's bloody frustrating. But when it's another team playing Melbourne, I sit there and go, Jesus Christ. They're unreal. And it shits me when it's my team. They had players everywhere. The amount of times they got easy ball around the stoppage, first half again, easy ball around the stoppage just because they managed to clear that little scrum immediately around the ball.
To be honest, I thought we looked lazy. Like, there were times when they ran harder and got to more contests because they just wanted it more, whereas our players just didn't. And that's concerning. And that's what we saw a lot of in that first game, that Geelong game, is we saw that for 4 quarters. No one wanted to run. No one wanted to compete.
Yep, other than Rusty Martin. All right, we'll wrap it up. Anything else you want to add to the conversation? Any other points?
Oh, no, I feel that we've... Yeah, I feel as though we've covered everything that we need to. I'll go no.
Okay. I think we're going sort of kind of in the right direction, but my bubble has burst a little bit. So apologies if you found this a bit negative, but when you're 0-3, it's hard to find things to be overly positive about.
But as we said, the next 3 are the real... We'll find out if all the talk... Yeah, they're the winnable ones. Yeah. They're not easy games, but they're winnable.
And we'll find it. Yep. And then Collingwood, who, apart from the fact they're 2-0, should not be as good a team this year. We think. We don't know yet.
Let's be honest. If we can't beat Collingwood this year, then we're well out of where we thought we were. Yeah. So, and we've got a few outs, but good sides have outs and still win.
Let's just keep the bloody ruckman in. All right, we will...
I'd like to see Fringer back in the back half, but that's me.
We need to do votes.
Yeah, votes. I thought that's what we're going to.
No, I was rapping.
Oh, sorry. I would have said votes then.
I can't rap.
You go first, or do you want me to go first?
Oh, Jesus.
I know my votes, if that makes you feel better.
A lot of pressure when I do this. No, you go first, please.
No, so I've done mine already. I did them before. I thought about it a bit last night. Now, I did find it pretty hard, but it was clear 3 for Peter Wright. I mean, 4 goals. He's. I still think the fact that he's had the 3 best defenders, close to the best defenders, in that he's had May this week. He had Harris Andrews, 2 first names last week, and he had Tommy Stewart the week before, who are elite defenders and probably was double teamed against a couple of them, and he still found a way to kick 3 or 4 goals in those games. Is great. And 4 goals won last night. He was shining light. I don't know where we'd be without him at the moment.
Yep.
Seriously, for the reject that we got, for the cheapest chips pickup, there's nothing wrong with him. If he's the third best forward in a few years, I'm sorry, I'll stop.
No,
2,
I'm going to say his set shots are gorgeous. Thing of beauty.
He's beautiful. 2, I'm going to give to Ridley because it was good to see him taking some contested marks and getting back and taking some ball. We need that. We need a defender that's going to start stamping his authority on a game. And I'm going to give 1 to Rusty because for a kid playing his second game, having 20 touches and calm, collected touches, I rate that. I do. I'd like to give a little shout out to Texie too for kicking a goal because that was awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah. Okay, well, mine are going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to back myself with this. I'm going to give Wright. Good on you, Sammy. I think Wright. Without him, we were very, very
wrong
out of that game. I didn't see Ridley as being that good in the game. He was good, but not that good in the game. And Martin was a bit the same. So I'm going to actually give 2 to Phillips because I thought his impact was huge on the game itself and what it allowed Wright to do. And I am going to give 1 to my whipping boy in Dylan Shield.
Well, that's an interesting one. Yeah, the problem I have with giving a vote to Dylan Shield is that one last quarter was great, but
yeah, I know. I agree with you.
Well, where's that for 3 more quarters, please? Or at least 2.5.
I don't like this saying, but he battled manfully. He just willed himself and willed the team when it mattered, and I like that. And it's a little 100%. Bit because I think he's shit most of the time. That when he's good, it really stands out.
No, 100%. I agree with all that. I just want to see it for more than 1 freaking quarter.
Same. But that's what I'm going with.
They're good votes. Good votes. Are we tallying this up? You keeping a total of this?
Yeah.
I think we should. We'll get a spreadsheet going.
I've got a spreadsheet going. I'm just keeping it a secret, so no one knows until the end of the year.
No, well, that's good.
We'll have our own best and fairest night. We'll see if the players will come.
Oh, there'll be drinks.
I was going to say then, because if you're on YouTube, jump in the comments and let us know. If you are on our Facebook, get in the comments and let us know what your votes are, what you thought, everything like that. Remember, I didn't expect it to go on this long. Winner signed football, signed by Essendon, not by us. We don't matter.
We can give you one of them.
We give you one. We can sign it.
Yeah. Signatures will be a lot neater. I'll give you the tip too.
Signed by the Dons. All you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, and with a bit of luck, we'll give that away next week. Just waiting for a win. And if not, we'll be back on Thursday night with a preview of the game against the Crows. I'm just going to fact check that because I'm pretty sure it is Adelaide.
Oh, no, it is. I know we're playing Adelaide.
Yes,
100% on. Yep.
Yeah, Marvel Sunday. Oh, it'll be the extended bench. Oh, well.
1:10. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, the F1 Grand Prix.
I was thinking about going, but I'm not sure yet.
I'm going to struggle to watch it because the Grand Prix is on. But anyway.
What's the point of this podcast if you get sucked into bloody watching Formula One?
Footy's on every week. The F1 in Australia, at a time of day I can watch it, comes once a year. So I'm going to...
I can't believe we're having this conversation at the end of this podcast.
It's all right, no one's here. If you're still here, feel free to tell me off for watching the F1, but I'll watch a replay, I promise. All right. Thanks for listening. I hope you're okay. We'll win one eventually. Go Dons.
Go Bombers.